Hello, every pony, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Because it's getting awfully dark around here. I need to do something else, otherwise I'm going to feel very, very scared of the dark. Boo! Boo! Eh, what the hey? New season of My Hero Academia is out. I'm in a comic book mood. Let's do another chapter of Neither Plane Nor Bird. It's deku. Next grade. Just one more year slumming it up with useless peons. Though Katsukuri Bakuo could move on to the big leagues. The anticipation was almost too much for him to bear. Almost. Alright, settle down, the homeroom teacher sighed. His name Bakuo could never be bothered to remember. Now then, supposed to be handing out career forms for you to fill out today. He just grabbed a stack of papers off his desk, went to the class for 2 seconds, and tossed them in the air. Why bother, though? You all want to be heroes, don't you? In an instant, the majority of the class of 20 cheered to show off their quirks. In response, yes, you all have wonderful quirks. You're not allowed to use your quirks in public. Please, remember the school rules, everyone. Bakuo smirked as everyone deactivated their quirks, as if they actually had anything worth getting in trouble for. Hey, teens! Don't let me in with the rest of these losers, Bakuo shouted. Like them, I actually have a quirk that isn't total garbage. Shut up, Bakuo, you're not so great, someone in the class shouted, having as much presence as a TV extra. Bakuo just laughed. Well, since Bakuo's making himself center of attention, I might as well mention he's planning on piloting to UA, teacher said. UA? Everyone gasped. That's the toughest hero school in the country. Only the best of the best can get there. I want to be a hero, but I want to be realistic. None of what was saying surprised Bakuo one bit. That's right. I'm in a different league than all of you, Bakuo shouted, jumping on his desk. I already aced the mock exam, so the real thing will be a walk in the park. I'm going to get in UA, then I'm going to be the best hero there is. Not even All Might will be able to take me on. Bakuo erupted into a roar of laughter as everyone's confidence faded away. As it should. How did these people expect to become heroes if their only claim to fame was stretching out their eyeballs, or making their neck long? Trash was just own up to being trash. That way, Bakuo didn't have to worry or waste time beating down people who weren't his time. Not like there was anyone who was worth his time. Now, I think about it, the only one who didn't say anything about being a hero is Midoriya. Bakuo stopped laughing. Everyone's eyes moved away from him and to another student. A scrawny little kid with a bunch of freckles and a black spit curl sitting on his forehead. Sinking further in his chair as more and more people turned toward him. What? Deku, you piece of shit! Bakuo shouted, calling Midoriya by his childhood nickname. In response, Midoriya threw his head against his desk. Wait, let me double check that, the teacher said, opening a folder on his desk. Yes, I was right. Midoriya's only listed high schools focused on general education, not one hero school. Midoriya, am I reading this right? Yes, sir. I really don't want to be a hero, said Midoriya, not once lifting his head from his desk. Almost immediately, the class fell into a series of whispers. Is he serious? Someone like Midoriya doesn't want to be a hero? With a quirk like his? What a waste! I'd play to a hero in a heartbeat if I could do half the stuff he could. Put way more money on Midoriya being the next All Might to Bakuo any day. As the teacher went back to the day's lesson, Bakuo jumped back to his seat. Attention nowhere near the chalkboard focused squarely on Midoriya. The bell for the end of the school day rang, and everyone started filling out the classroom. Bakuo, noticing Midoriya was slow to move, took advantage of his lackadaisical pace and ran to the front of the desk. You got a lot of nerve, you know that, Deku? Bakuo asked. Good afternoon to you too, Kachan. Midoriya mumbled, calling Bakuo by his childhood nickname. Don't ignore me, asshole. What the hell was that crap for this morning, huh? At this point, some of the students who were around stopped to observe the two. Some of them were rolling their eyes, looking at the scene with a look of familiarity. The exact same stuff we've been over for 10 years. I know you thought I'd just grow out of it, but I'm serious, Midoriya said. Think you're so special, don't you, Deku? You think you could have a quirk like yours and show me up one time, and then get away with not having the balls to sell things? I don't think I'm special, and I don't want to be special. Midoriya stood up from his desk, grabbed his bag, and started walking towards the door. What? You're just gonna live the rest of your life like these pathetic pissants? Just let everything that makes you worth a damn go to waste?
Maybe I am. Not everyone's obsessed with being validated as you. The crowd started snickering. Bucko started scowling even harder than before. He was about to sound another insult. But before he could, he caught sight of a notebook and left on Victoria's desk.
So, being a hero's really beneath you, is it?
That's not why.
And what the hell is this book, Deku?
Bucko picked up the notebook. It was a small standard issue school notebook with a title written in pencil reading Hero Analysis number 13.
Kachan, give that back!
Doria said, stopping his tracks to turn to him.
Why should I? You don't give a shit about being heroes, right? You've been saying that for years, yet here you are with a notebook all about them. And the 13th one, too. Hell, a lot of notes to be taken for a guy who doesn't care.
I don't care about being a hero, Kachan. It doesn't mean I don't care about heroes at all.
Doria shouted, looking at Bucko with a nervous expression. So you're just half-assing everything, then?
That's not... Before Midoriya could say another word, an explosion of fire shot out Bucko's hand, burning the book to a near crisp.
You really pissed me off, Deku,
Bucko said, tossing the burnt book through an open window. A second later, most of the people in the school had time to blink. Midoriya then threw Bucko against the wall, lifting out the ground with just one hand around his shirt collar. The crowd turned to him with wide eyes, some for shock, others for anticipation. The latter looked up unsatisfied, though, as Midoriya quickly put Bucko on his feet. Bucko looked down and saw his shirt was ripped open. Death figured.
Every time I think you're gonna surprise me, just go and pull the same shit.
Bucko spazzed, but Midoriya started walking back towards the door.
Stop being a little bitch! Just face me already, Deku!
Midoriya gave no response as he left the room and walked off into the hall. Man, it seems that you're always asking him to kick your ass. Why do you keep antagonizing him anyway? Another student asked. You don't think I can punch a hole straight through your skull?
Fuck off.
Midoriya's notebook, he later discovered, fell into the koi pond in the courtyard. On top of being burnt, it was now wet, and had pieces of it swimming around in the guts of various fish, as if he really needed all that. Following that, Midoriya went back on his way home, his head hanging towards the street the entire time. Stupid Kachan, why can't you just leave me alone? Midoriya asked no one. One more year, we don't have to see each other again, alright? I just wish you would lay off already. A brief moment of anger, Midoriya kicked a nearby can on the sidewalk. The can went flying through the air, higher than any of the surrounding buildings, and eventually turned into a small speck. So what if I don't want to be a hero? Everyone loves food, but that doesn't mean we're obligated to try and become professional eaters. Just because I love heroes doesn't mean I have to be one. Doesn't mean I deserve to be one either. Midoriya said, tears in his eyes. Like I said, there were some bumps in the road. Even though I loved heroes as much as the next guy, even more than him, for the longest time I didn't want to be a hero. Not because I didn't have any interest in it, but because it didn't seem right. It all started back when I was 4 years old. At that age, everyone's supposed to start developing quirks, their own unique superpowers. After a few months, I was the only one in my class not to have a quirk. My mom took me to the doctor and we looked into it. We were both hoping, at least I thought we were both hoping. I was just a little slow. I just had to wait a little longer before I could be like everyone else. But the doctor dashed all that with 6 words. You should probably just give up already. The doctor explained that the major factor determining whether or not someone would develop a quirk was their pinky toe. One joint in the toe meant that you have a quirk. 2 joints meant that you wouldn't. I had 2 joints in my pinky toe. I would never have a quirk. I could never be a hero. The one thing I wanted to do in my life was out of reach, at least for a little while. Japan, September 20, 11 years prior. The entire ride home, Deku was silent, no matter how much Inko prodded him for a conversation. Not like she couldn't understand it, though. When you just find out that all your hopes and dreams were ruined, though through no fault of your own, it takes a little while to get back in the mood to talk to any others. She should know she's been there. Izuku, do you want to talk about it? Inko asked. Izuku slowly shook his head. That's okay, sweetie. Whenever you want to talk, Mommy will be right there to listen. You know that, right? Izuku just slowly nodded his head. Pulling up the curb, then walking up the stairs to her apartment,
Iko still couldn't get a word out of Izuku. Mayor wanted to cry. No parents should have to see their child so distraught, so beaten down. Not that they have any idea what they could do about it. Iko was almost glad that Hisashi was overseas, so that he wouldn't be two sad parents in the building. Speaking of the devil, Iko's phone started ringing. The caller ID show was Hisashi. Izuku, Mommy has to make a phone call. Could you please close your door and go to your room, please? Once more, nothing but a silent nod of the head. With a heavy sigh, Inko walked into the kitchen and answered the phone. Hello, dear. What's wrong? That fast? I couldn't hide from you in a second. I'm a scientist, Inko. Being super smart is what I do. That it is, Inko said with a smile. So, what happened? Izuku had his doctor's appointment today, right? Yes, he took an x-ray of his foot and, well, he's quirkless. There was a moment of silence that came out from the other end of the line. Oh my god. I know. I can't even imagine what a little boy's going through. He and Kanchan always spend so much time talking about how they're going to be just like All Might. This happens. Well, it's not like we didn't know it was a possibility. I mean, sure, he's been like a normal human from day one, but someone like him would even be able to develop a quirk in the first place. Even so, what are we going to do, Hisashi? There's nothing we could do that aren't we already doing. We just need to make sure Izuku never thinks we'll treat him any differently because of this. He's upset, rightfully so, but he's 4. Once he's older, we'll learn. Well, you don't need powers to make a difference in the world. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's all we could do. That's all we can do then. Inko didn't finish her sentence, cut off by a loud crashing sound. What was that? Hisashi shouted into the air and Izuku! Panic in her face, heart pounding in her chest, Inko ran towards the source of the noise, praying that whatever was happening wasn't putting her son in danger. Once the source of the noise was located, Inko's jaw dropped at the sight of 2 things. The first was Izuku, completely unharmed and laughing and smiling, and this wasn't the worst day of his life. Inko, what happened? Is Izuku alright? Hisashi shouted from the phone. He's alright. He's perfectly fine, Inko stirred. Really? That's a relief. What was the noise then? Izuku just broke something. What did he break? A plate? A lamp? The door. Almost silence from the other end of the line. I'm sorry, Inko, but I think you're getting bad reception over here. For a moment, it sounded like you said Izuku broke the door. He did. Right off his sentence. There's big, jagged holes around the parts where it's torn from a wall. Torn by our son. Huh? Mommy, look, I did that! Izuku shouted, still smiling, still laughing, now ignoring how confused his mother looked. Did I remember like I told me to? I forgot to close the door and wanted to do that. When I closed it, the door came flying off. I did that! I pulled the door right out the wall! Does this mean I finally do have a quirk? It seems so, Inko said. Yay, I have a quirk! I can be a hero just like All Might. Yay! Literally different for toy, Inko bounced off the floor with apparently enough force to prevent himself into the ceiling. The impact left a series of cracks, but when Izuku came back to the ground, he was still acting excited, so he didn't feel any pain. You heard all of that, right? Yep. Do you think we should be worried? I have no idea. In an hour, I went from feeling like my life was over to being on top of the world. As far as I knew, the doctor was wrong, and I did have a quirk. Quirk like All Might's too. It was everything I ever dreamed of. At least, till it became everything I didn't know I was afraid of. A week had passed since Midoriya unlocked his quirk. His smile hadn't faded in the slightest. He spent all his free time rewatching all my videos, drawing costume sketches, coming up with fighting moves to take down the bad guys, and things he could do for when he became the best hero. Everyone got started before him, so if he wanted to stop being number 1, he had to be twice as hard as everyone else. On this particular day, Midoriya was playing in the local park when, from the top of the slide, he caught sight of a kid being bullied by the other kids. Midoriya recognized all the bullies. One was a skiing kid wearing a hat, another was a fat kid floating above the ground with a trillion wings, the third was an angry-looking kid with spiky white hair. Midoriya especially recognized that one. It was Katsuki Bakuo, his best friend Kanchan, normally a stand-up guy. You better apologize before I beat your ass, you piece of shit! Bakuo shouted as his compatriots laughed and the kid cried.
Midoriya couldn't stand to watch this. He knew he couldn't. Now that he had quirk, now that he was on his way to becoming a hero, he couldn't stand idly by as injustice took place before his very eyes. Even if the source of said injustice was someone like Kachan, it was still wrong. Heck, that does mean even more wrong. It's time to put his double effort into action.
That's enough, Kachan!
Midoriya shouted at the top of his lungs. The heads of the four kids turned in Midoriya's direction. Their attention caught Midoriya jumped off the slide and propelled himself 10 feet forward, meeting him in a 3-point landing in front of the crying child. The distance was met, but the landing wasn't stuck, as Midoriya landed flat on his face in the dirt.
Deku, the hell are you doing here?
Kachan shouted as Midoriya picked himself off.
I'm here to help,
Midoriya said, dusting the dirt off his face.
You shouldn't bully other people, Kachan.
Hey, he deserves it. Someone gotta teach him what happens when you cut someone in line to eat the last cupcake.
You saw he's already crying, so stop it. I won't let you go any further.
You won't let me. Ha! Kachan laughed, along with his compatriots. Well, you get your quirk way after everyone else. Now you think you can take me on, Deku? As if. You might not be quirkless anymore, but that doesn't mean you're still a loser. Let's kick his ass, guys! Kachan and the other two charged forward. Ski Kid made his fingers strapped out right around Midoriya's face. A week ago, that would have been enough to put Midoriya on edge. A week ago, he wasn't on his way to becoming like All Might. Therefore, he effortlessly pulled the Skinny Kid's hand off his face and tossed him to the Fat Kid, knocking the air out of him and causing the two to fall into a pile. What the shit? Kachan shouted as the other two groaned under their quick defeat. Fine. If you guys are gonna suck this much, I'll just kill him myself. Kachan ran up to Midoriya, got him with arms length before he had time to move. Midoriya was always impressed by how athletic Kachan was. Now wasn't the time for the defending. Quickly as he could, Midoriya brought his arms in front of his face. Kachan kept going, though, grabbing onto his arms with one hand before activating his quirk, like releasing a fiery explosion. Not so tough now, are you freaking nerd? Kachan laughed as smoke floated about. Laughing quickly stopped when the smoke cleared. Real Midoriya was still standing and looked completely fine. What the fuck? Kachan never finished the sentence, for Midoriya punched him in the face and knocked him on the ground, flat on his back.
I did it! I beat Kachan!
Midoriya cheered.
I can't believe I really did. Oh, wait.
Midoriya turned his attention to the crying kid.
Are you alright?
Yeah, the crying kid said, sniffing a bit while getting off the ground.
That those guys are gonna hurt me. You fought them all off like they were nothing. Thank you so much, Deku-kun.
My name is Deku. But don't miss it. I'm just doing what any hero would do, Midoriya said, chest puffed up and arms at akimbo. Deku! A weight suddenly pulled itself on Midoriya's back. It was Kachan, blood spilling out of his nose, and decided not defeated by Midoriya's earlier attack. Don't think for a second I'll go down with one weak-ass punch! The crying kid started screaming. Kachan's compatriots, having regained their bearings, started cheering him on. Midoriya tried to shake Kachan off, but his grip was too tight. He kept releasing small explosives against Midoriya's body. While they didn't hurt that much, individually all of them together started to take their toll. He needed to do something to get Kachan off of him. Something All Might asked, hopefully.
All Might, that's it!
Memory flashed in Midoriya's head. It was a failure you saw a fight between All Might and the villain and the Lord Deathman. Lord Deathman had attached a powerful bond to his body, wrapped itself around All Might. Because of his powerful regeneration quirk, the bomb would only kill All Might, and he'd be perfectly fine in an hour. In order to save both himself and the homeless shelter that the Prime Minister was visiting, All Might spun his body around with such great speed, Lord Deathman was propelled off his body into an area where explosive couldn't cause any casualties. As Midoriya recalled, that maneuver was one of All Might's signature techniques. Oklahoma Smash! Giving the best appraisal of his idol, Midoriya put all his strength into spinning his body around as fast as he could, giving the sight of a miniature tornado to any onlookers. Midoriya came to an abrupt stop. Sudden lack of motion was enough to throw Kachan off of Midoriya's body. As Kachan flew through the air, Midoriya couldn't help but smile at what he hoped was his victory fully cemented.
Huh. Kachan's going really far, really fast.
Midoriya thought to himself.
He'd fall by now, but he's almost at the edge of the park.
Kachan crossed the edge of the park. Midoriya's smile faded. He's going into the street. I gotta do something. Midori put all his strength into his legs and charged at Kanchan, praying to whoever would listen to they'd be able to reach him in time. Unfortunately, Midoriya's body couldn't race as fast as it thought. Kanchan escaped his grasp and flew into the street. Fortunately, through a stroke of luck, Kanchan managed to avoid getting hit by a single car. Even more unfortunately, though, a stroke of misfortune, Kanchan crashed into a building with enough force to break a hole through the wall.
What the hell was that?
Someone shouted. Holy shit, it's a kid. Is he dead? Is a villain attacking? A second person shouted.
Someone call an ambulance, quick!
A third person shouted. What kind of monster would do this to an innocent kid? Fourth person shouted. The skinny kid, fat kid, and crying kid all ran away from the scene. The crying kid with some hesitation. Midoriya could bring himself to do such thing. No such thing besides standing there and cry. Police ambulances showed up a few minutes after Kanchan took his hit. A few heroes showed up too, sprinting the area for a possible villain. Police and heroes quickly discovered there wasn't a villain anywhere in the area, so they could start questioning people about what happened. Questioning came to an end when they got to a crying Midoriya. They told him all about how this fall has happened. They told him not to cry because it was an accident, but that didn't help in the slightest. The MNTs let Midoriya ride in the ambulance with Kanchan to the hospital, so the student was out of pity. The entire ride, Midoriya didn't say a word, until he stared at Kanchan with wide, scared eyes. And that changed when they arrived at the hospital and Kanchan was raced to the emergency room. They didn't even have a chance to see anything with the doctors pushing him into the reception area as soon as he was inside. Izuku? At some point, Iko and Hisashi arrived at the hospital. Midoriya had no idea how much time had passed when they did. Mommy, Daddy, Midoriya said, barely looking at him.
Izuku, we got a call saying you came here after the Bakugo's son got into an accident. What happened?
Hisashi asked, looking him straight into the eyes. I was in the park. Kanchan was bullying someone. I just wanted to make him stop. I just wanted to be a hero, but then I lost control and Kanchan! A crying emerged, but it wasn't from Midoriya. Standing not too far from Midoriya's were Kanchan's parents and a doctor. Kanchan's father was crying without abandon. Kanchan's mother just fell back against the wall with a pained, confused expression. Oh God! One of the words that ran through Midoriya's head. Kanchan was bad enough, but now his parents, he wanted to vomit so badly. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Midoriya? Someone asked. It was a woman. That's us, Inko said. Can we help you, Miss Nokogiri? Officer Tamako Nokogiri. Officer? Midoriya felt a shiver run through his body as he looked at the woman. She was a tall woman with a muscular build, so much more so than any other adult woman Midoriya had seen. Baba looked like blonde hair, looked like a jagged heart, was made of stone, and her eyes appeared to be some sort of light-colored gemstone. Next to her was a heavy-set man with pink skin and a scowl on his face. Midoriya felt another shiver. This is the woman who was going to send her to jail. I'm not taking you to jail, if that's what you're thinking, Tamako said. We just need to talk to your parents for a bit. Why? Inko asked. I don't know.
Could have something to do with your kid throwing his pal through a brick wall. Right? That's just me.
Pinkman said.
Hey!
Sasuke shouted, stepping towards him. Tamako didn't waste any time stepping between the two of them. Look, we just need to have an understanding of what happened. Detective Shichiken will take you into Bakugo somewhere to ask questions. I'll keep an eye on your son, okay? Fine, Sasuke said, stepping away from Tamako and the Pink Man, now identified as Shichiken. Izuku, the nice lady's gonna stay with you for a while we go talk for a bit. Is that okay? Inko asked. Midoriya said nothing without a word. Inko gave him a quick hug before turning him away, following Sasuke and Shichiken outside the reception area. Kanchan's parents quickly joined them. Hey kid, Tamako said, sitting down next to Midoriya. This was just an accident. It's just some horseplay that got out of control. I need you to understand all of that and understand this wasn't your fault. Understand? Yes, Midoriya said. No, Midoriya thought to himself. If you try to say that I'm still the reason Kanchan's in here, they can't help him, then... How can you say something like that? Midoriya took that seat. That was Inko's voice he just heard. It didn't make any sense. He told her to just leave just a minute ago.
What?
You beat me around the bush. You act like your kid didn't almost kill another kid.
That was Detective Shichigen's voice. It's like Inko, he wasn't anywhere in sight.
Don't have to act like we need to put him in fucking Tartarus.
It was definitely his father. That was definitely Hisashi's voice. It was definitely the sound of someone who wasn't present. Midoriya could only come up with one explanation. Superhearing. It was rather unfortunate that the current circumstances stopped him from being excited about his new ability.
Look, Hisashi, if after the matter is your kid says friend to the ER, those property damage to do it. Someone needs to be held accountable for all this,
Shichigen said. Oh, this is all about money then. How much is it going to cost to get you off my back?
Don't get stupid with me. You don't want to know what I do to people who try to mouth off to me.
Can we please stop all this? That was Kachan's father. No, not what was crying. Kashi, he's still alive, isn't he? That's all I care about. I don't want to think about anything else.
Well, life aren't about things we want to.
Why do we have to drag all this out? So? That was Kachan's mother. Confused and melancholic. It was an accident, wasn't it? When I was a kid, my friends got carried away with our quirks and hurt each other all the time. It's never this bad. But this is just something that happens.
So that means we just brushed it off as kids being kids?
Midoriya heard a loud bang. Shichigen must have sounded his fist against something.
That kind of attitude is what makes people think they can do whatever they want. Thinking like that is what leads to people becoming villains. We got enough of those as it is. Doesn't matter if y'all want to go home and forget about this. We need to figure out how this even happened and make sure it won't happen again.
Again? What's there to know? Hisashi asked. My son was messing around with his quirk. Does he even have a quirk, though? What? Tamako asked, staring at him. Midoriya said it was nothing, went back to listening to the conversation.
Said your son was quirkless. I wasn't lying about that.
The doctor Midoriya saw last week. It appeared he was there. I ran the test exactly as it's supposed to be run. Checked over results multiple times, along with other experts in the field. There shouldn't be any doubt that Izuku would never develop a quirk. Huh? Midoriya knew Tamako heard him. He didn't respond to her. He was too busy trying to process what he was hearing. That doesn't mean you can't have powers, though, Inko said. Sure, quirks are the easiest ways for someone to have powers, but they aren't the only way.
I know, but we tested for them. The doctor said, there's no traces of metal in Izuku's blood, so that means he isn't a metahuman. There's no history of magic on either side of his family, so that can't explain things. Because an untrained first-generation magic user wouldn't be able to have that much power. Also exposed to any radiation or dangerous chemicals or anything of that sort, so that can't be taken into account.
Comics!
If you did have a quirk, you wouldn't have close to super strength, Shichigen said. A person's quirk can only be derived from the quirks of their parents. Only exceptions to have quirk mutations. People like that are one in a million. But I'm guessing you never told your kid that, right? So you see, this isn't a question of how this happened. No, you see, it's a question of what made this happen.
Midoriya must have said something to make Tamako look at him again. But he didn't know what came out of his mouth and no idea what. Anything. He said to get her to turn away. Now he thought about it. You remember the doctor saying how a person's quirk worked in relation to their parents' quirks? All the excitement over the emergence of his powers, he just forgot about it and never bothered trying to remember. Then there was what the detective had said, but this being a question of what made this happen. There was a vagueness to it, but Midoriya could read between the lines. He knew that what was supposed to be with him. What the doctor was saying was true, and he wasn't supposed to have any powers. What sort of what did they even make him? That's fair enough, a new voice said, accompanied by a multitude of footsteps.
Hey, who the hell are you guys?
What's going on over there? Midoriya thought to himself. Fine work here, detective, but now we'll... The new belly burster! Now only at 500 yen! Midoriya jumped back into his seat. New people who just showed up there were talking about belly burger? Nothing didn't make sense. It sounded more like a TV commercial.
We just want to talk to
someone about this leaky roof. I can't take this anymore. More random words flew into Midoriya's ears. The last sentence didn't even sound Japanese. His hearing had gone from normal hearing to being able to pick up conversations in a building, to being able to pick up conversations around the world in a span of a few minutes. So what should fire that burned with almost 3 people alive, instant death? The victims have multiple stab wounds.
So many of them were bad, even the words Midoriya couldn't understand. You could tell when someone was saying something bad by the tone of their voice. I'll kill you! Police arrested 300 protesters, still taking the entire group hostage. Signs of sexual assault. Thousands will be losing their jobs by the end of the month, being into a coma. It was getting worse. Midoriya didn't know how to stop it, but he didn't know what to do but cover his ears and try to block it out. It didn't work. Suspected of being an alien was arrested today. Countless lives have been stolen, millions, and gang violence is magnified. No survivors. Missing for a week. Committed suicide. Refused to all others to negotiate. The fight a fake storm. There were no heroes. Midoriya wasn't sure how many more he picked up before he passed out. After Midoriya woke up, he wasn't in the hospital. A quick survey of the area told him he was lying in the couch in his living room. All he meant everything that happened over the last few hours was just a dream. Unbridled chaos. Riots in the streets! Such luck, Midoriya remarked as he hit his side of his head. Everything was real. Kachak getting hurt. Police questioning his parents. The apparent impossibility of having him powers. It was all real. The only upside of the day was hitting the side of his head seemed to shut off his super hearing. Honestly, Midoriya got off the couch and started walking around the apartment. He ended up in a dining room. Bubba's parents were there. Faces lit up as soon as he saw them. Izuku, you're awake! Inko cheered as he and Hisashi hugged him. When we got back, the policewoman said you had a panic attack and passed out in your chair. We were so worried. Give us a hell of a scare there, little guy. Feeling all right? Hisashi said. Yes, Midoriya lied. Great. Let's all get some dinner and you will head back to bed. Hisashi sat Midoriya down at the table, while Inko went into the kitchen to get everyone staring together. What did the detective say? Midoriya asked. That guy? Oh, nothing important. He just wanted to make sure we all knew it was an accident. No one's in trouble, Hisashi said. It was a lie. Gachan? It's gonna be alright. It was a close call, but he's gonna make it through. You probably won't see him in school for a while, but small miracles, right? Right. The conversation between the two dropped. The only sound in the room came from Niko's humming, and the dinnerware being shuffled around. Hey, Daddy? Yes? Why do I have these powers? Midoriya asked. Hisashi stared blankly at Midoriya for a few seconds without saying a word. What kind of question is that? Is this your quirk? It's not like your quirk or Mommy's quirk. True, but I could only do this if I had a mutation. But the dentist said those almost never happen. And the doctor said I was certain I didn't have a quirk. Sound staring at plate sounded from the room. Midoriya and Hisashi turned to see Inko staring at them while a bunch of food at her feet. Siku, how did you know that? Inko asked. Policewoman said you never left her side, so how... I heard it, Midoriya said. I didn't leave where I was, but I still heard everything you were saying. Then I started hearing things from around town, around the country, even things in different languages. This all kept coming in. I didn't know what to do. Why does this happen? Why does any of this happen? I don't have a quirk or any other power someone can have. Why did I hurt Kachan? Please, someone tell me what I am. Tears started falling out of his eyes. But even as he finished talking, he put her hand over her mouth while Hisashi directed his gaze to the table. This went on for a minute before Hisashi stood up and walked out of the dining room, muttered something about wanting to wait until he was older. Izuku, honey, just something you need to know, Inko said, pulling a hand on Midoriya's shoulder. 4 years ago, Daddy and we were trying hard to start a family, harder than anyone else knew. And you know all that, the doctor said we would never have children of our own. But then, how, does this mean I'm adopted? Yes, but a little more complicated than that. As if on cue, Hisashi returned to the dining room and placed a metal box with a coded lock on the table. Pressed a series of buttons before a loud beep sounded off at the top of the box. Hisashi pulled the lid off completely, and Midoriya looked to see what was inside. A long piece of metal bearing a black pentagon with what looked like the letter S inside of it. Why am I hearing the Superman theme? What's this? Midoriya asked. It's the lid of a spaceship, Hisashi said. Spaceship? Why would you have been anywhere near something like that? What does that have to do with me? Another question tried to escape Midoriya's mouth. When he stopped it as everything came together. 4 years ago, your mother and I were camping near Mount Fuji when a foul fire crashed near us. It wasn't a falling star, but a spaceship from an unknown civilization. The only thing I said was a baby. And that baby, well, was you. Midoriya stopped crying. At this point, he felt more confused than he did sad. So, the reason I couldn't have powers is because I'm an alien? Midoriya asked. That seems to be it. And very conveniently, you awakened your powers at the same age that a vast majority of people born here were born awake in their own. That means I hurt Kacha because I'm a monster. That's not true, Inko said. You're not a monster, Izuku. Yes, I am. People who aren't monsters don't hurt your friends like the way I hurt Kacha. Even if their friends were being mean. That was an accident. They happen literally every day, Hisashi said. It doesn't matter where you came from, Izuku. You're still our son. If you say that, it's not true. Midoriya cut in. If you're really your son, I wouldn't have had any powers. Kacha wouldn't have got hurt. All that happened because someone who doesn't belong here. Midoriya jumped out of his seat and ran to his room, ignoring his parents' pleas for him to come back. He slammed his door shut and jumped on his bed, not ignoring the pounding against his bedroom door. The only sound he was paying attention to was the sound of his tears coming back in full force. Kacha came back to school a month later. He had scars all over his chest and titanium screws on his left arm. Other than that, he was fine. He didn't say a word to me for the rest of the year, only ever scowling at me in silence. For someone like Kacha not to lay into someone who sent to the hospital, he must have made him so angry as I lost for words. I ended up being the person to make that happen. All because I'm an alien. Because I don't belong here. Whether it's a quirk, magic, medicine, or some kind of mutation, roughly 90% of the world has some kind of superpower. Yet I have powers in the one way everyone hates. Ever since heroes and villains first appeared, the ones who've been responsible for the most destruction have always been aliens. The Lantern War, where the Green Lantern and Red Lantern Corps got into a huge fight, used Earth as a battleground, and one of the highest death tolls in history. To this day, Alice Scott still orbits the planet in the Green Palace to shoot down invaders before they can come anywhere near here. I'm the same kind of person as the people who caused all that. My parents said they didn't care about that, and I shouldn't either. If they don't care, it's fine. I shouldn't cut myself from caring about it, especially since I had proof I was dangerous. So I decided not to bring attention to myself. Live a normal life where I couldn't rub any shoulders to turn any heads. And that meant not being a hero. Someone like me didn't deserve to be a hero anyway. Someone like me would only get hurt and cause more harm than good. Why do I have to think about all this right now? Midoriya said, wiping his face as he kept walking. Stupid Kacchan. Just leave me alone, let me live my life. I'll let you live it, kid. For another minute, anyway, the voice said. Midoriya turned around to see who was talking to him and felt his jaw dropped. Shooting out of a manhole a few steps away was a giant flash of sludge, staring at him with wild eyes and smiling at him with jagged teeth. Before Midoriya could say anything, the sludge had shot forward and wrapped itself around him, sewing some of it into his mouth. No mistaking it, Midoriya was being attacked by a villain. You really saved me, kid, Sludge Villain said. I was being chased by the hero of all heroes. And lucky me, I found a nice-looking body for me to hide in. I need an adult! Midoriya tried calling it the Sludge Villain, but I laughed at him. Liquid, you moron! This will stop struggling. Make things easier for all of us. The Sludge Villain started wrapping itself around Midoriya's face, covering the entirety in a matter of seconds. I was hoping for that. As soon as it happened, Midoriya's eyes started glowing red underneath all the sludge with intense heat. In a few seconds, the slud around Midoriya's face started bubbling like a boiling pot of water. It started spreading across the entirety of Sludge Villain's body. An angry scream, the Sludge Villain flew off Midoriya's body. Its return allowed for twin beams of red light to shoot out of Midoriya's eyes into the sky. Ow, 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 god damn it! The Sludge Villain said, "That hurt like hell. I think you got a quirk like that makes things even better." Before Sludge Villain could finish talking, Midoriya puckered his left to breathe in his direction, releasing a giant gust of wind that sent his body flying backwards. I gotta get out of here, Midoriya shouted. I need to find a hero and get them all over here. Oh, rest him. Wait, if I do that, I'll probably be gone by the time I get back. So I try to team myself? I'd be able to freeze him with my ice breath, since his body's like liquid. But what if I get in trouble for vigilantism? It might go easy because it was self-defense, even though, still, I'd probably get more into trouble and likely not get into trouble. Midoriya rambled on. The Sludge Villain regained his composure and wrapped himself around Midoriya's leg. The sudden presence of some slimy substance on his skin made him take pause. You shut up already? I've had enough of you.
It's over, kid.
You're right. It is over.
The new person said, sentence punctuated by the sound of heavy weight crossing the pavement.
Why, you ask?
Oh no, the sludge villain cried. Dorius, meanwhile, staring in awe at the person in front of him. That muscular build, those blue eyes hidden in the dark shadows, that blonde hair styled into a stylized antenna. It was weird. He was dressed in such a casual t-shirt and jeans, holding a plastic shopping bag. There was no mistake about this.
I have arrived.
No mistake that this was All Might, the #1 hero in the world.
Oh no. Texas!
God damn it. Smash! All Might reeled back his arm and let loose a punch in the direction of the sludge villain. He didn't actually touch it, but instead punching the air with such a force, a massive shockwave was sent forward. The shockwaves hit the sludge villain dead on, and his body completely broken apart, scattered around the street. All Midoriya could do was stand there in awe at his aisle. Said Aisle, meanwhile, took a ball of wire out of his shopping bag and emptied it out of the street. While it was emptying out, he sped around the area to every spot and pieces of the sludge villain ended up. Midoriya wondered what he was doing, but after a few seconds saw the street was spotless. The iron of the sludge villain was contained in the water ball. That he returned standing in awe.
Sorry to have to get you involved in this, kid,
All Might said, putting the water back in his pocket.
The guy robbed a bank earlier, and I took it upon myself to take him down. I almost had him, but then a can fell out of the sky and hit me in the face, giving him an opening. Seriously, a can falling out of the sky. How does that even happen?
But no, Midoriya stammered.
Anyway, he used that to escape. I had no idea where to find him. But then, I saw a beam of light being fired into the sky. Because someone was getting into a fight. Given that timing, it was possible that would have been that bastard right here. Looks like I was right on the money, too. What is your name?
Izuku Midoriya, sir.
Well then, young Midoriya, I have to give you my props. That guy must have given you a hard time. Well, you stood your ground. Very nice.
Thank you, All Might. Midoriya shouted, bowing repeatedly, such a little angle and nearly hit his head on the ground.
I'm actually a bit curious of how that went down. Mind telling me all about it?
Of course not. Extended conversation with All Might. That Midoriya suddenly went from having the best days he had in a long while. And now we get to some world building, with a lot of references to what makes the DC universe. And what I enjoy is that they're basically mentioning a world without Superman. What the world's like without Clark. And I like it. Also, I like the addition of Alan Scott here, because that makes me think of Kingdom Come, one of my favorite Mark Waid stories. Well, that was one down. Thousands more to go. See you next time.